Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a draft, movie remakes. We kind of impromptu behind the scenes. Me and my good buddy over here, Creeper McGee, looking over my shoulder. No, we're gonna talk about movie remakes. So, with that said, with your first overall pick, JPO, what are your
Hey,
thoughts on the concept of movie remakes and the muddy waters that we might deal with later?
yeah, there might be some discussion as to whether this counts or not because we even said off air remake, redo, reboot, requel. There's all sorts of fun things that go on now. But no, I think there's some great ones. There's some horrible ones. That could be a fun draft. The worst ones too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the discussion and seeing what people pick. See if
Absolutely,
there's
and
anywhere
with
I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even think of that.
absolutely, and with the second overall pick, we have Brian Michaels. Brian, drafts we've done a lot of behind the scenes ones, so you're kind of the concept of the off the scenes or the on the scene one, does that affect your strategy at all? Does it affect your how serious you take it versus just talk about movies you want to talk
No,
about?
most of my picks are safe because the stuff I'm going to pick, nobody else is going to give a shit about. But I don't make mine for the polls. I just make mine for me. So screw
Wait,
you
you
all.
mean for the poll?
That's what I don't do. Although researching this has been hilarious because I see things like people saying Titanic is a remake of A Night to Remember just because it was based on the same event. It's like no.
Exactly. Perfect example of the conversation we'll have when everyone's introduced. But yes,
It was
for the
my
polls
first pick.
for the polls in quotes, because that's kind of the meme that we've made. But with the third overall pick, Madi, you actually had the first choice of 1 through 5, and you chose 3. Is that just lack of experience in draft, or is that kind of just you? Hey, I don't want to wait too long, one way or the other.
I just don't like waiting too long, man. I don't want to be in fifth and then have to wait 4 people and then wait like 8 on the back end. Like I'd rather just be kind of in the middle every single time. Same with fantasy football, man. I'm always like, if I don't have the first pick, I want to go like somewhere in the middle.
Interesting. All right. Well, I had the fourth pick, so that is me. And then last but not least, kind of his idea, kind of a little twist on his show that he's going to be doing over on the Movie Hero Network soon. Remakes. So, Pez, what are your thoughts on remakes?
Yeah,
And how many do you have on your side list?
it's quite a bit, but it was easy because I made the brackets and I kind of had the idea over on Movie here. We're kind of doing an unofficial like remake week to kind of tie in with Little Mermaid because me and Jacob Barber are going to do a podcast about movies tomorrow night, talking about a couple of specific remakes. Tuesday we're doing a good remake tournament. Then Friday we're doing a worst remake tournament. We're voting on the worst one, and we'll get a bad movie in there. But yeah, so I mean it kind of fits in, and yeah, I don't think there's like an obvious number one here, so I think it's a good thing for a draft. When there's not always an obvious like kind of number one. Could be some hot picks in the first 2 rounds, but I don't think like there's a super obvious number one. I'm like Brian. I pick my favorites, but also movies I think are pretty good. So yeah, it's kind of a little for the poll, a little for me.
I think this is an example of, are we drafting these based on the quality of the remake versus the original, or just the movie individually? So I'm definitely curious on that conversation. But with that said, I forgot to update the thing, but JPO, no rush, but you are on the clock. And we will do a recap after each round where we'll talk about the movies. You're not forced to talk about the movies, but I would rather talk about it at the end, and then we won't be here for 3 hours. So JPO, you are on the clock. And you are muted, so you are also muted on the clock.
Hey, now we're live. I know for me, for the most part, I just went based on the movie itself that I'm putting out for grabs, not necessarily the quality of whatever it's being remade of. I gotta take The Thing up front, man. Absolutely love this flick. I haven't actually seen the first one. Hope that doesn't matter. So, but I do love The Thing.
It's not bad for like a '50s movie.
Yeah.
It's got some good stuff, but yeah, John Carpenter's superior.
Good old practical effects, great cast here, of course. So yeah, The Thing.
All right. Brian, you are next up. What is your first round pick?
This would definitely be a pick for me. It wouldn't normally be my first pick, except that I know it won't make it back to me. And so I'm going to go ahead and piss you off and take The Departed. Remake, of course, of Infernal Affairs, which actually that is also a good movie. I actually like both versions of it. But Departed, I think, is actually an improvement on it. So.
I think you took Henry's first pick.
You cax that guy.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Brian, JPO's here, Brian's here, Medi's here. Brian hates Scorsese. I'm so happy that I had the fourth pick because I have a nice.
This is one of the few Scorsese movies I really like, and like I said, it would probably be like my 4 or 5, but it definitely want it on my list. But I knew I had to take it early if I want it.
So. I don't respect that. Medi, you are on the clock.
Okay, so I'm gonna put out the first like possible one of like you guys might like it, might not. I'm gonna go with the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, because there was that TV movie
There was that animated movie.
one.
Yeah.
But obviously it is based on like very.
So I haven't. So here's my. We'll go one at a time, but I'll start. So here's my thing. I haven't seen the animated one, but is that more The Hobbit or is that more the Lord of the Rings?
The Hobbit is a whole separate animated thing.
There's a whole separate one for The Hobbit.
It's an animated movie.
There's
just
a Lord of the Rings specifically one.
Okay,
it crams everything into one movie.
So here's my second question. So the first one, which is obviously the one you're talking about, the Fellowship of the Ring, is the animated one about the Fellowship?
It's the whole thing.
So the animated one, it's squeezing the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy into one animated film.
One movie.
So I couldn't say that it's like a remake of just the Fellowship or just.
So I didn't include it in my remake tournament because I say no because the original one does the whole thing and Fellowship of the Ring is literally just Fellowship. It doesn't do the finale.
Brian, what's your vote?
I hate to be picky on people's votes because I want to pick whatever they want to pick. If it was me, just what I was considering, it's like I'm actually avoiding pretty much anything that is based on books and things because that's when you get in the murky waters. So I abstain.
So what would it be on your list? Just how about that?
It would not be on my list by my criteria because I want a remake of a movie. I don't want to do another adaptation.
I was going to say no because it was on my list and I wanted to take it.
Listen, if it doesn't count, that's fair. Like I get it. I just wanted to.
We'll just say no, just because unfortunately we didn't bring it up earlier. But yes, that is in that extra gray water that we didn't talk about. Or we don't want to waste too much time, so we'll just say no.
That's fine. In that case, then I'm going to pick a fistful of dollars.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we're going to start with me. So I am going to start with. We talked about it beforehand, so I'm hoping it's still eligible. Based on remake of a TV movie, Heat.
Yeah.
Okay.
He remade his own movie of LA Takedown. Yeah, he remade his own TV movie of LA Takedown.
I found that out doing research.
I just watched that for the first time this year, and that's oof.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to start with Pez, just your first pick, and then we'll recap round one.
For sure. My current favorite horror movie of all time, I'll take another horror remake, the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
That's a good pick.
Which is a banger.
All right, and then you went last. So anything that went before you that you would have taken, both based on strategy and also personal opinion?
The Thing. I mean, if The Thing was still, but I figured that would go to somebody in the first round. Somebody would pick it because it's pretty much, again, my Thing is my number 2 favorite horror movie of all time. So it's like just one or the other. So yeah, I knew that one would go quick. The Departed is great, but not my favorite Scorsese. So I figured Henry would pick it up, not Brian. Fistful of Dollars is good. I just prefer some of the other Eastwood westerns, so I'm not super high on that movie in general. So, but yeah, everything else is cool. But it's good picks though overall.
And then, so for me, I'm not going to talk about this because I was hoping that I could have got Departed and Heat in round 2. Madi, what are your thoughts on how round 1 went?
No, pretty good. Yeah, I think there's one or two that I was like, that's probably going to go, and they didn't go. So now I have a chance of getting them later on. So we'll see how this happens.
And then Brian, fuck you. JPO, what are your thoughts on? No, Brian. If you didn't go Departed, and I was not on the draft, were any of these other ones legitimately ones you would have picked, or you think you would have had another pick later that now you can possibly get next round?
No, I think I would have picked one of my other picks. I mean, these are movies for the most part, I enjoy them, but none of them would be like, first round choices for me. Probably wouldn't even be picked on my list. Like, for instance, if I was going to pick a Thing movie, I'd pick the 2011 version, but that's more of a sequel or a prequel, so I couldn't count that.
There you go. And then, JPO, you start off with The Thing. After how round 1 finished, are you confident with that pick selection still? And are you true to your heart? Or did you, in fact, only pick for the poll?
No, I never went with my heart. I do love The Departed and Heat as well. That's definitely something that I would have picked either. Departed probably would have been next round, and Heat if it was somehow still around in third. But so those are really good picks, and I'm happy.
All right, there you go. So now we're going to bounce over to start round 2. Pez, what is your first pick?
So I won't go all horror, I promise, but I will double dip at least for now before somebody else takes it, and I will take The Fly.
I was already right.
Yeah. So I have to grab it before anybody else. I promise I won't go all horror. I've got some other picks, but
86, right?
86 for The Fly. Yes, that is correct. 86. Yeah.
All right. We're going to me. We didn't discuss this because this just didn't come up, or maybe when I went to the bathroom it did come up. But multiple remakes. So I don't know if we only are doing the first one, but if we're doing just multiple remakes, basically a remake. A Star is Born, 2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Figured that was coming up.
I figured it'd be fine, but also, since I just wanted fair game. That we are doing
No, Henry, and it's in my bracket for Tuesday, so it's in there. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm just mad because I didn't think that was going to go round 2. Shit, I hate you, Henry. Now you fucked me over.
That's what happens when my draft board goes down. You got to just pick your best BPA, and it would have been.
So in reality, Brian also fucked me over. Damn it, Brian.
Brian definitely fucked you over. Madi, what is your second round pick?
I'm gonna go 310 to Yuma.
Good remake.
I love that one. That's one I thought might have I could save till 5 or 6. A good pick.
Yeah.
What was that a remake of?
I was 310. I'm just mansplaining movies to Brian real quick.
2007.
Madi picking 2
7 sounds about right.
Yeah, 2 westerns.
All right, Brian. Whose heart are you gonna pick?
Yeah, I think it was.
I'm going to pick a movie that was a musical remake of a movie that wasn't a musical, and that is Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah. There you go.
We were at 88.
86.
Good pick.
86.
Yeah. 86 is this one.
Yeah. I've been by Audrey too before.
Is it horror or horrors?
Little Shop of Horrors.
Horrors, plural.
Yeah.
WHOR. Oh, never.
The Little Shop of Horrors. That's a different movie.
Horrors. That's the porn parody.
It's probably a big shop, guys. JPO, you have the back-to-back, but let's start with your first one to end round.
I would like to take Stephen King's It.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on how round 2 went?
Evidently, I went horror back to back too. I didn't even think about this just now.
I'll run it back up, JPO, that he was sincere in his thing. Fun fact on tournament fights: the Thing won one of JPO's 128 tournaments. So it's see, there you go.
And by their rules, it's my new favorite movie, even if it was
but that technically means that was one of his 128 movies that he liked.
Also, one of mine in part 2 was Chopping Mall. So take that for what you will.
Exactly.
JPO, did you pick chapter 1?
You're saying chapter 1, right?
Yeah, but I kind of have to too, don't I? Plus, also that's the one I would choose. So yeah.
Yes.
Well, because part 2 is covered in the original thing either.
I guess, but no, I'd definitely go
with a miniseries. But it's fine.
Well, it's in the graphic. Too late to fight me. The rules are what's in the graphic.
Change the graphics.
No, go back. I can't read the other things.
I
don't
remember. Actually complain.
What are your thoughts on the rest?
No, good round. I figured I wasn't going to see Fly based on Pez. Star is Born probably would have been mine this round, so good take on that. I love 310 to Yuma too. That one really surprised me how much I liked it. So I thought I maybe could have snuck that in 5 or 6. Similar to Little Shop of Horrors, I thought I could sneak that in maybe 5 or 6.
There you go.
So good round. Everything here is literally something I could have on my list.
That's what I'm talking about. Brian, you went Little Shop of Horrors. That's something that you think that you probably could have gotten later, but you just didn't like how the board fell, and also anything else in this round that you would have taken.
I don't know a lot of these other guys as far as their tastes or if they would have picked that one, so I don't know. But it's one that I definitely just wanted, because I really love the movie. I probably could have got it later, but I don't know for sure. I had considered it chapter 1 because that's a really good movie, but just on my own criteria, I didn't want to do different adaptations of like books, just because that for starters helped me narrow down my large list. So that was up there. I also would have considered Star is Born, but I knew it wasn't going to make it far enough for me. So
there you go. Madi, going with westerns to start. So we got a lot of horror and a lot of westerns. What are your thoughts on how round 2 went?
Didn't realize I picked 2 westerns in a row until someone brought it up.
Me.
The Fly, I figured was going to go to Pez. I figured you were going to pick Star is Born, which I was fine with because I wasn't going to pick Star is Born at all. Brian, I'm actually happy that you picked Little Shop of Horrors because at some point I was like really hoping that someone would. It's just not up there for me personally in a movie, but I'm good with my picks, man. I'm ready to take this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like I wasn't even joking. So my draft board, it would have literally been The Departed, Heat, Star is Born, and hopefully in that order of round 1, 2, and 3. Obviously that one got taken away, so it just got bumped up. I'm totally fine with how that went, and I know that JPO possibly would have won A Star Is Born on the swing. So I know that I probably wouldn't have came back to me in round 3 anyway. So I am 100% okay with that.
It would not have.
Yes, good. Thanks for the confirmation. So at least I feel better that I lost The Departed, but I at least have my next 2 for sure. And then It Chapter 1 on this round would have been possibly on my list. And then Pez, you started off with The Fly. Are you confident with that after how round 2 went after you?
Yeah, for sure. Because I think based on what everybody says, somebody would have picked it up if I hadn't picked it up because it's great. Still in my top 5 horror movies of all time. Star Wars Born. Again, I don't love it, but I know I'm in the minority on that. So to be fair, that's why it's in the good remake tournament.
I don't love it either.
It's but the consensus is good. So 310 Unit was on my list. I like that movie a lot. It's a really good remake, Western remake, and It Chapter 1 was a potential as well. I don't love Little Shop of Horrors. I like it, but I'm not really a musical guy, so I wouldn't have taken it personally.
Absolutely. All right. So Pez, JPO, we're starting with you to roundabout back over to round 3.
Well, kind of similar to Star Is Born. Let me take the most recent Invisible Man.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Moss from 2020. Also a great theater movie. One of the last theater movies I was able to see that year before the world shut down. And I love the little twist they had on it here. And she's a fantastic leading lady.
The world shut down? Really?
There's a pandemic, maybe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It wasn't talked about much.
Never heard of it. Brian, now that my heart's broken again, what is next?
This is probably my last one that anyone would even consider taking. So I'll go ahead and take this off the board. It's a remake of a French film. This is True Lies.
True Lies. Yeah.
Damn it!
I was gonna go.
I feel like out of all, there's probably might be 1 or 2 in this entire list that you're like, wow, that was a remake, and this is probably one of them that a lot of people won't know that.
Yeah, it's a French spy movie.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's a French spy
I did not have it on my list just because I didn't know.
Yep, it's in my tournament. Sure is.
Madi, what's your next Western?
First of all, I was hoping True Lies would drop to the 5th round because nobody knew it was a remake and I could take it then. But god damn it, Brian. I could pick another Western, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna go with Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay. I'm okay with that, right? Everyone's cool?
I didn't think about it, yeah.
Because they rebooted everything, right? So I don't know if
it's not really a remake of any pre-existing movie, though.
Yeah, because it does start as a prequel.
It takes place before.
If you're going with the hardcore reboot rules, then I see what they're saying.
I'm trying to remember if Beneath or one of those sequels was kind of going, if they time traveled back to pre-apes, they might have. I'd have to fact check that. I'm not sure.
Well, here's my example. X-Men First Class is not a remake, but it's new characters.
That's very specifically in the same timeline, right? However, the X-Men timeline ended up working out.
Well, in that first movie, no.
Not in the first movie, no. But they had Hugh Jackman
Class. That's what I'm saying. Initially, no, the plan wasn't, and then they did Days of Future Past, and it brought in the old timeline. So technically, it was just I don't know,
because they still had Hugh Jackman in it. So I don't know and he's playing Wolverine still. So I don't know if it was.
I'll vote yeah because my gut said yeah. JPO.
Yes. I had to think about it. Yeah.
Oh no, that's fair. I was just making sure you heard me. Brian.
It's one of those questionable about, but I'll give it to him. Yeah.
Okay. It ain't gonna win you the poll, so that's another reason why I'm like, that's fine. It's if it was gonna win,
if we let him take this, he won't take something else we want.
I would have said no only because the Tim Burton one is a straight remake of the other one. This one's more just like a reboot and slash prequel kind of thing. Just me personally, but
that's fair.
That's fine.
But Lord of the Rings is definitely winning him the poll. This is not, so that's fine.
That's fine.
I see how it is. I see how it is.
That's how we roll in this show, baby. Doggy dog world. All right, so now going over to me. Now there's just a bunch of ones that I know that, not really worried. Either not worried about you guys taking them or they're not the highest on my list. The one that's highest on my list for sure, none of you guys are going to take. So I'll go in the middle. Movie I feel is severely underrated since I didn't get an original or I didn't get my first pick for Scorsese, I'm going to go with Cape Fear.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love this movie. I'll talk
That
about
movie's
it.
awesome.
Later,
De Niro's awesome in that movie. He's so great.
Exactly. I think it's mad underrated. So
It's really underrated.
Pez, end off.
Yeah, I'll go Universal horror as well. I'll take The Mummy from '99, which I love. The Mummy.
I thought you were
one
going
of
to
my
Tom
favorites.
Cruise.
No, not that one. No, give me Brendan Fraser, baby.
Hey, you love The Mummy?
Yeah, I know. Nobody knows that. It's only one of my top 10 of all time. I love it.
All right. Obviously, I don't know how well you know Brian. The Mummy may or may not have been on his list, but anyone else, I don't know for sure. What are your thoughts on the stuff that went before you, and what are your thoughts on if you could have gotten The Mummy later?
No, I mean, True Lies was a potential, but like I feel like the lack of availability of that movie has not helped me like love it as much as I should, because once they put out that damn 4K, I'll be all over it, and I'll watch it again. But it being like weirdly unavailable has not helped it for me to rewatch it a lot. Love Cape Fear. I think that movie's really underrated. That movie's great, and more people should see it. Again, you heard my thoughts on Rise of the Planet of the Apes. No, but that's fine. I got outvoted, which is fine. And yeah, that Invisible Man's movie is really good, and it's a pretty solid like new adaptation of that material. So yeah, I like it's all right.
And then for me, Invisible Man would have been my next pick. So me and JPO, I can't say we trade because technically Star Wars higher on my board, so I can't even do that. I think The Mummy is overrated. I'm sorry, we've had this conversation. It's not an attack. I wish I loved it because I grew up around the time when it was popular. It just wasn't. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I think it's actually a really good movie. And in terms of a remake, it makes me think like it's just reboot, remake. I guess that is muddy waters, but my gut said go with it. True Lies, same exact thing with you. It's just not available to watch like readily. So I've only seen it once, and I've seen a few reactions to it. So I've seen highlighted versions of it, but it's just never had the pace and the flow of, hey, True Lies in my mind. I got, images on my mind, but that's a different story. And then obviously Cape Fear, mad underrated. A lot of people just A, forget it's a Scorsese movie, and then B, just kind of, it's one of those definition movies of like, oh, I saw it once a while ago. I don't really have a legit opinion on it. It's a banger. Madi, what are your thoughts on how the round went around you on both sides?
True Lies was definitely on my list. As I said earlier, The Mummy was on my list too. I was hoping to get that in the next round, but underestimated Pez decided to take multiple horror movies over.
If you know me, I would have taken it at some point.
I was gonna say, I was like, maybe he'll take another movie and then come back to horror in the fifth round or something. I was like, all right, I got a chance, but whatever. Invisible Man I haven't seen yet, so and then Cape Fear, forgot it was a remake.
Hell yeah, Gregory Peck, and then Brian.
Invisible Man, it's okay. I'm just not a big fan of Elizabeth Moss at all, so she kind of hurts that movie for me. Apes, again, good movie, but I wouldn't have picked it. Cape Fear, Scorsese, so not really my thing. And The Mummy I enjoy, but I don't love it. I mean, actually, I also enjoy the 2017 one with Tom Cruise. That's just me.
Oh yeah.
First the Thing, now The Mummy. You're nuts.
Oh, and for the record, True Lies right now is on Peacock, Paramount Plus, and Tubi TV. If you want to watch it,
it's starting to become available, but like for a long time,
it's coming out on disc finally at the end of this year.
Yeah, I think it's because it's finally coming out. I think The Abyss is going to finally like come out like with a new 4K.
They must finally have their 4K restoration done.
Yeah, so I'll pick them up. Like if James Cameron put out these fucking, or let other people do it for him, like I'll be all over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like make it available.
He's busy making Avatar 17 right now.
I know. That's why.
Hey.
Yeah.
Not mad at that. All right. And then JPO. You start off the round. How do we go after you?
This is a great round. True Lies is something I didn't think about, so it just wasn't on my list, but I should have been on my list. I just didn't know. Same thing, kind of similar to Rise of the Planet of the Apes was what I thought about, but that's a great trilogy. Cape Fear is good. It was on my lower end of my list, though, and I do love The Mummy. That good pick because that would have not made it back to you.
Right. That's what I thought.
There you go. And then, so now we're going to go to Pez starting off round 4.
So this may be a personal pick that I probably could have saved, but I think it's such a good movie and it's in my top 100 and it's awesome. I'm going to take Sorcerer from 1977.
Damn.
which is
All right.
the William Friedkin movie. It's a
I haven't
remake.
watched it it's on my Vudu. I still have not watched it.
Yeah, it's a William Friedkin movie. It's based on The Wages of Fear. It's a remake of that, and man, it's like so awesome 70s, and the jungle and bridge sequences are some of the craziest cinema you'll ever see. It's great. I love the movie more and more every time I watch it. So yeah, may not have got. I could have saved it, but the movie's such a banger on my list that
I'm pretty sure Brian's here's the only one who watched. He just watched recently. He didn't love
and
it.
it's
So.
Sorcerer, not Sorer.
It's for me. It's not bad. It's just got a couple really, really, really awesome scenes, and then a whole lot of boredom for me.
The boredom has gone away from me. Like I know people complain about the first half, but I think when you watch it several times, like the first half it's essential though when you see it to set up the characters, so people don't realize it the first time they see it. But yeah, for me, I love it. Yeah.
All right, jumping back over to me. I'm gonna go underrated again. Famous director, very underrated. Got talked about earlier today. I love this movie. Amazing cinematography, amazing acting. Insomnia.
Saw that coming.
Yeah.
This movie is just mad underrated. I really feel like it's another one where it's like, oh, I saw it back when it came out in theaters, or when I did a random run through of Nolan movies, but I watched them all back to back to back, and this just happens to be the least memorable of it because it's not Batman or Inception. You know what I mean? I feel like, yeah, this Al Pacino's fantastic. He's not doing his hoo-ah stuff. You know what I mean? And then Hilary Swank, up and coming, doing a good job with that. And then Robin Williams, just very memorable and very, off-putting, and very ironically an underrated performance from him, even though everyone knows he's in this movie. It's a weird line. So extremely happy that I got this one, even though technically it would be a 5th round pick.
And I had a question about it being a remake on our team's thing. So yeah, there you go. Yeah,
neither here nor there, but I did say Nolan directed, not about the other one, but that's not about big deal. So going over to Mehdi, what is your next pick?
Insomnia wouldn't have made it back to you, by the way. I'll go Dune Part 1.
Talk about due for a rewatch. That first one, I don't remember anything.
I still haven't watched it. I'm waiting for the second one at this point to come out to watch it before it comes out, man.
Honestly, like watch it.
21,
right? 2021.
Okay, I was like, dude, the 2020s release dates have been so bad.
They're all kind of
together on the same,
yeah.
All right, Brian.
I'm gonna go with a movie that I really love, and a lot of people just haven't even seen, and that is the 1999 remake of the Thomas Crown Affair, starring Pierce Brosnan and Rene Russo.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't even seen the original Steve McQueen one with Faye Dunaway. I keep meaning to, just never have. But this one is just it's directed by John McTiernan, and it's just so much fun. Just the cat and mouse game of it, and just the charisma of the leads is just awesome.
Is it still about a painting? Is that the whole thing, right?
Essentially, yeah.
I haven't seen either version, but I know one of them or both of them is about that. So it's different type of story. So it's interesting that you always hype it up. So it makes me intrigued. JPO, round 4. How are we ending?
I'm going to end, as everyone knows, there's a couple things I love in life: movies, chicken tenders, and cocaine. So let's do Scarface. Cocaine on chicken tenders, too, by the way.
You haven't been fucked in a year. All right, JPO, how did everything look before you? Was Scarface a scramble, or is that something that how the board went, it would have gone to you regardless?
I wouldn't say scramble. I really do dig it. It's just a matter of, if I had my first 6 picks, yeah, maybe not, but I'm definitely happy to have it on my roster here. Dune's really good. It's definitely on the line. Probably this one probably something I definitely would have got to over these next 3 rounds. Insomnia is good. Last one I actually haven't seen. I haven't seen Thomas Crown Affair, and I have no idea what Sorcerer is.
It's on my Vudu. Eventually, we're just all gonna have to watch along because none of us have seen it. So we're just gonna have to bite the bullet.
What is it?
It's a story about their transporting nitroglycerin, and there's a whole thing about a bridge.
Yeah.
Apparently, really thrilling, and I'm excited to finally get there.
To me, man, if it's Roy Scheider in the 70s, it's a banger. Every movie he made in the 70s was just fucking
Jaws Sorcerer and all that jazz.
Even all that jazz is fucking great. Like it's everything he made in the 70s was awesome. Like everything he did was money. French Connection, all that shit. So like Jaws, obviously, yeah, he's great. So yeah.
Brian, obviously you mentioned that Thomas Crown Affair was an underrated pick in terms of like the panel, but is that something based on how the ones that went before you? Is there anything that's taken from you, or you're like at the point, let's just pick what I want now?
Well, I was picking what anyway. None of these would have been picks for me. No.
There you go. Madi, thoughts on round 4?
Honestly, it's kind of surprised that Scarface fell this low, I guess. I don't know. Like, I figured someone would have taken it sooner. It's not like one that I necessarily would have picked, but I had it on my list as like a possibility later round in case I was running out of other options. But Tom's Crown Affair, haven't seen. Insomnia is a good pick. I would have probably picked it either this round or the next one before you. And then Sorcerer, I don't even know what that is.
It makes me laugh.
Awesome movie. no, it's more about like to bring awareness to that movie. I'm trying to bring more awareness to Sorcerer because
and it's also like the title doesn't sound like what that movie.
No, and honestly, it's a bad title. Yeah, because people go like I even posted or Jordan posted something he was watching because I told him to watch it for this tournament, and then somebody in the comments was like, "The Sorcerer's Apprentice is a remake," and I'm like, "No, it has nothing to do with like wizardry. Like it's nothing." So it's kind of a misleading title. Yes, I agree. But
they should have went straight up, just said nitroglycerin, and just
just like like something in the jungle. I think it was originally called Jungle something, which would have made more sense.
Jungle
like
Cruise,
jungle truck, jungle truck. I don't know, but yeah. So I'm just trying to bring more awareness to it. It's a great movie. Again, it's a little slow burn to begin, but it's got some of the most amazing filmmaking you'll ever see. Like especially.
No, I've heard good things in terms really like even Brian, who's not the best on it, he's still at least hyped up parts of it, which you know.
Right.
Pez, you went Sorcerer start the round. What are your thoughts on everything that went after you?
Yeah, no, I mean a lot of these picks are just ones I would have on the list, but like just for later picks if we got there, you know, like Insomnia is good. And I've never seen Tom's Crown Affair. I need to get to it because you forget about those John McTiernan kind of later movies.
Rollerball.
Like that. Yeah, Rollerball. I've seen Rollerball sooner than Thomas Crown Affair, which is probably a bad thing. But Me too. Scarface, and I like I said, I haven't watched Dune yet. I literally have. I have the 4K. At this point, I'm just waiting because the new one's coming out this year. I'll just wait till the new one is on the way, and I'll just watch it like a week before. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So, I just missed it because I'm not high on the original one. Like I'm not a Dune guy. Like for the '84 one, that movie bores me. But I've heard good things about that one. So.
It's awful.
Yeah, I'm due for a rewatch too. But yes, when the second one comes out, I'll do that rewatch.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
JPO round 5.
Oh yeah, it's me again. Sweet. I would like to take King Kong, Peter Jackson's.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh shit! All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I dug it, man. I think Jack Black's pretty great. I think it's a different Jack Black that we get to see normally. And also, I think that pretty worked for me, man. Like I really dug it. My first big screen kind of King Kong movie, so maybe add that nostalgia to it. So good flick.
There you go. Brian, what's your next pick?
Were we doing 5 or 6? I forgot.
6.
Okay.
So we say 8.
I know my shit. I actually have
you guys. Until we keep going and we go 8 because I got plenty of movies still on my list.
I've talked about this movie a lot. It is the most underrated movie from a certain man named Sylvester Stallone, and that is Oscar. It is a remake of a French film by the same title. It's a comedy, which people lump it in because it was around the same time as like Stop My Mom Will Shoot, but Stop My Mom Will Shoot was awful. This one is hilarious. It's like a total farce. It feels like a stage play. It's got a great cast. Like it's got him, Marissa Tomei. It's got what's his name? Harry Shearer. I'm just blanking on names. Forget that. Blanked on the entire cast. Also, Chaz Palminteri, William Atherton. Anyway. But it's a great comedy. I think everyone should give it a chance. It's directed by John Landis. Everything's good from the music to the cast and everything. It's hilarious.
Oh, this is the one with Sal Getty, right?
No, that's Stop My Mom Will Shoot.
I wish I had a clip that said "ha ha ha." D.
What you need? Have you seen The King of Comedy, Henry?
Yeah.
So there's a bit where he goes, ha, 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 ha. That's terrific. That's terrific.
Yeah, the Joker comedy.
It's great.
That's Taxi Driver. D, what is your next pick? By the way, Joker eligible? I'm just kidding.
Fast and Furious. Remake Point Break.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna go with Ocean's 11.
There you go.
Talk about something that surprised me this far.
Yeah, I thought that would go like second round.
That's why I was thinking. I was like,
yeah.
Nobody else wants to take this?
That is a definite improvement on the original, 100%.
So much better. Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah.
Any quick thoughts, or do we want to save it for the recap?
I mean, you don't need to watch the original. Honestly, just skip the original, and you're pretty set. Just watch the George Clooney Brad Pitt one.
Absolutely. Watch him eat chips. All right, jumping over to me. Now we are literally. I'm telling you, I have a bunch that I really like, but it's like none of you guys like. So it's like, which ones do I go? I'm gonna go with I'm gonna let the tiebreaker go to the acclaimed one. I always forget it's a remake. I'm gonna go with Some Like It Hot.
Yeah.
No, damn.
This is a movie that it's just missing something in terms of like being a top 100 movie of all time for me. I don't know if it's the pacing with the gangsters, whatever, but it's like whenever I watch the film, I do have take a shot. I do have a great time. It's very memorable, and I love the chemistry between Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, everything with Marilyn Monroe. She's just you could see why people back in the day just had an affinity for her. And then the gangster stuff to me is really fun. It just definitely feels like two different movies. So it's something's always been missing, but I've always loved the movie, and it's just it's the definition of a movie. Like after I'm done watching, I'm like, ooh, it's one of my favorites. Then some time goes by, I'm like, parts of that's my favorite. You know what I mean? So it's like 40-Year-Old Virgin for me. It's like Clips, absolutely. The entire thing, I don't know. So Some Like It Hot, definitely a big one for me. Pez, cap off.
So I will go back to horror, and I'll take a movie I like almost equally as the original, and the original is very high up for me. I'll take Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead.
That's a good one.
Mhm.
Wait, you like it as much as the original?
It's like
I will
just
take this over the original any day.
It's they're almost even for me. Like the original one holds a very special place in my heart. I love it like to pieces. I saw it again in the theaters recently when they did the 3D thing. That was fun. So like if I had to pick one, I picked the original one. But it doesn't mean I dislike the 04 one anymore. I still think the 04 one was awesome. Like I still think this movie rocks, and like it has some great stuff in it.
Oh no, I like both of them. I don't know.
If I have to pick one, I like 70s movies, so like I'll pick the 70s one just because it's like just got that charm about it or whatever. But man, I put this one's almost up there for me. They're both in my 128.
Fair enough, man.
Or whatever. So, yeah, Dawn of the Dead.
All right, and then what are your thoughts on round 5?
Yeah, Some Like It Hot. Yeah, the first time I saw it was actually in a theater on like a classic screening for Cinemark or something. So that definitely helped. Yeah, I agree. I think it picks up the pace when they get on the train. Like that's when it finally like kind of kicks into gear. But yeah, I'm sometimes in the mood for those old screwball comedies. Like they're fun. Not one of my personal favorites, but it's a very good movie. Ocean's 11. I'm surprised that didn't go like first or second round, honestly, because yeah, that was a definite improvement over the original. You don't have to watch that one. That first movie's boring. It's not good. It's definitely a definition of a great remake. I watched like 40 minutes of Oscar not that long ago, Brian. Yeah, I tapped out after like 35, 40 minutes. It's just not for me. It wasn't vibing. And King Kong, like it was last time I watched it was really good, but yeah, I like a lot of the stuff on the island, but yeah, it takes a while to kind of get going for me, but it's still good. I know it's a personal thing. I prefer the 76 one, man. Like me personally, I'm all about that 76 movie. I love that movie. So yeah.
Yeah. For me, Ocean's 11 is probably one of the biggest shock movies that it's not like a favorite movie for me because like everything on paper it's just fun, quick paced. Brad Pitt, my second favorite actor, but honestly, I just don't feel the stakes. Like I feel it's too clean. Like nothing about Andy Garcia's character, like us as heroes, do we have anything against him? The only reason we don't like him is because he's tapping Tess. Like that's really it. You know what I mean? Like we don't have anything to root against. We're just have a lot to root for. But like you need something to root against. You know what I mean? And just I don't know. It just keeps it away from me. Even like in The Killing, they're bad guys, but they're like legit bad guys. That's why I think that movie is a little more memorable in terms of like a heist as a film, but the characters are more memorable in Ocean 11. So I'm talking more there because I've never seen Oscar. King Kong's 05, I saw it once. Oof, long. Probably would prefer Skull Island if I'm picking between the two.
Skull Island's the best King Kong movie out there.
Yeah,
I'll argue that all day.
Facts.
And then
if you don't like good written characters, sure.
Hey,
I just want King Kong in my movie.
John C. Reilly's a Cubs
In the
fan,
first
so
20 minutes, it's fucking great. He pops up and we're off to the races. It's awesome.
he's got like 2 banger fights that like we could debate.
Yeah.
Like these are
Yeah.
some banger fights. And then
Wilson is a hot guy. Brie Larson is a hot girl at the end.
you're not wrong. Dawn of the Dead 04. I actually need to rewatch that one because I just rewatched 78 a couple months ago, or maybe a year now at this point, and yeah, I think it's overrated. So I want to rewatch 04 now because I'm not a huge fan of Zack Snyder as a whole. So I'm curious.
I'm a Snyder
Yeah,
guy,
I
so
am.
you know me. You know
So
me.
I'm curious to see if, because it's his first one, so I'm curious to see if the Snyderisms are there.
You should go back because James Gunn wrote the script to it too, so it's a lot better written than you would think. Like
It's the least Snydery of Zack Snyder.
Yeah, because it's because James Gunn did the dialogue and like the script for it. So like you might like it more if you go back to it now with like a James Gunn.
And I'm currently doing a Walking Dead rewatch right now. I'm halfway through season 4. So
With
it's
no
like
weird slow
timing.
mo and filters and things.
Yeah, so it's like kind of perfect timing for that. So I probably should watch that within the next week or two, if I'm being honest. Madi, what are your thoughts on how round 5 went?
King Kong, you know, it has its fight scenes that I enjoy, but the rest of it, I'm just kind of, I like Peter Jackson, but it just wasn't for me. Oscar, I haven't seen. Some Like It Hot is a good choice. I forgot that was a remake. And then Dawn of the Dead, I mean, I guess I kind of touched on it. I like it as a movie. When I think of it as a remake, I'm always thinking like, all right, the original for me is up there, and then the Zack Snyder version is a little lower. So I never really.
They're fairly close for me. Fairly close.
Yeah, like I'm not saying there's like a huge difference, but it's like for me, I always lean towards the original rather than the remake. So I'm like, all right, I get why some people would put it up there, but it wasn't one of the ones that I wanted.
There you go. Brian, thoughts on round 5?
Yeah, King Kong I enjoy, but it's kind of bloated. I do prefer the 76 version and Skull Island and Godzilla vs. Kong over over this. Ocean's 11 was on my kind of brainstorming list, but that wouldn't have been one of my top picks. Same with Some Like It Hot. And Dawn of the Dead actually was one I had considered picking. Again, it probably wasn't going to be one of the top 6, but it was definitely up there.
There you go.
I do prefer to the original.
There you go. And then last but not least, JPO, thoughts on how round 5 went after you started?
Good for y'all, not good for me. No, I've never seen Oscar. Something I do need. I wouldn't mind checking out, seeing if it's up for me or not. Dawn of the Dead's really good. One of the greatest, like I think, like the first like 10 minutes is great. I remember they showed it after like Monday Night Raw one time, and it definitely hooks you. And then Oceans and Something Like It Hot definitely makes me rethink my number 6 spot, because it would have been Something Like It Hot. So me and you, Henry, are really trading choices here tonight. And then if it wasn't Something Like It Hot, it would have been Oceans 11. So now we'll see what it is.
All right, Pez, final round. What is your final pick?
Or is it? Because sometimes we go, I got more choices, maybe.
We're gonna do this one as F, and then we'll do it after, so no one's finagling their picks now.
Okay. No, I got you. No, I understand.
I want your shot. I want your dart throws now, and then we'll see if we regret it.
Okay, so I'm actually, I don't know if anybody else is gonna pick it, but it's the last Steven Spielberg movie that really like knocked my socks off that I went gaga over, and I haven't in the last 15 or so years. I'm gonna go with War of the Worlds.
That is not where I thought you were going with that sentence.
Yeah.
I need to give this one a shot because
I love War of the World. Like I may be in the minority. I think this movie's great. Like I think it's 05, yeah. And I think the whole movie just like rocks. And it's again, the last Steven Spielberg movie I've really gone back and rewatched like a lot. And I've liked some of his movies since then, but I haven't gone crazy for a movie since this one. So of his, even though he's still one of my favorite directors if I put it down. But yeah, so yeah, War of the Worlds, man, love it.
I'll talk about that one when we do the recap. All right, so we're going with a movie that I love, like genuinely love. I know a lot of people like it or say it's good. 10 people out of or 12 people out of 10 will, or I get 9 out of 10, because there are some people, weirdos like me, that say it's not as good as the original, but I actually like it more than the original. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love this movie. Like, I think that Jessica Biel does a great job as a final girl / leading lady. Arlie Ermey's addition.
He's having so much fun in that movie.
Oh.
You can tell.
Yeah,
He's
and
having
then
a
if
blast.
you watch the sequel, the remake sequel, or prequel technically at the beginning, and he just expands on his having fun, so it just makes it a good time. And then one of the best shots. I'm starting to see it more now, where it's the shooting through the head, and then where the camera goes through the head and like shows it. And it's just a cool little neat trick that you don't get enough of it because not many headshots, from that. But like I just watched it recently when I rewatched Kill Bill, they did it, and then in this one, so it's like that early 2000s where you see that. That's a cool shot for me. And then it's just good. It's a good fun time. It's nasty, dirty. Leatherface just has a good stature to him. He's intimidating. He's scary. It's got a nice pace to it. The lead characters aren't so dumb that they're annoying. Like they're moderately dumb, like just regular horror characters. So yeah, I love this movie. I always have, and very rewatchable in a sick way.
You know that it has the same cinematographer as the original movie from 30 years earlier, Daniel Pearl, who shot the original, shot the remake, and he really knows how to shoot natural lighting. It looks
I like
really
that.
good.
Yeah,
Movie.
I love it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's one of those where it's like, if we did like a 10 rounder, I probably could still get it at 10, but I need it on my list because I genuinely love this movie. I'm not just throwing darts here. Madi, what is your last pick? Asterisk.
I kind of want to go back to westerns and say True Grit, because I like the original John Wayne version and everything, but Coen Brothers did some really amazing shit, and obviously
Pilgrim. No, I was kidding.
I mean, Jeff Bridges was. I think this is probably Jeff Bridges' best role that he's done in terms of like just straight up acting that I've seen. But still have to see The Old Man and some other things. But this I'm going True Grit.
All right, I'll let that slide. Brian.
Yeah, we all know he's the best in Crazy Heart. So what's up, Brian?
I know he's the best in 76 King Kong.
Box of scraps.
Okay, I'm definitely not playing for the poll here. This is a remake that I love as much, probably more than the original. A lot of people don't, but I don't care. And that is 2011's Footloose. This is just one of those movies that I know it's not like some great classic film or anything. I just have a lot of fun watching it. I love the music. I love the dancing. I love the story. It's something I pop on at least once a year just to watch for fun.
I worry about you, Brian.
He looks in the mirror every day. He's like, "Why are you the way you are?" And then he puts on Footloose, and he's like, "That's why, because I have fun." JPO, what is your final pick of the night?
Yeah, a reboot of a foreign flick that unfortunately we never got a sequel to. I'm going to pick A Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
Oh shoot! Right. Yeah,
one of my favorite Finchers, who I found out is one of my favorites. I think basically based on tournament fights, because I'm like, damn, I keep picking Fincher flicks. Yeah, I thought it was really good for a first step here. Again, it's still a pretty dark movie here. It's Fincher, so he's not like he lined it up or anything, and had a really good cast for it too. So
it makes you that and Don't Breathe. Are always like, man, where's my turkey baster? All right.
Really?
All right, so a little recap. Round one, we can decide later if we want to speed round a couple more rounds. We'll not really talk about, just go through, but we'll talk about that later. But round one, JPO with The Thing. Then we had Departed, A Fistful of Dollars, Heat, Invasion of Body Snatchers. That's not it all. It's 5. All right, and then round two, we had The Fly, A Star Is Born, 310 to Yuma, Little Shop of Horrors, It Chapter 1. The Invisible Man, True Lies, Rise of Planet Apes, Cape Fear, The Mummy, Sorcerer, Insomnia, Dune, The Thomas Crown Affair, Scarface, King Kong, 1991's Oscar, Ocean's 11, Some Like It Hot, Dawn of the Dead, and War of the Worlds, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, True Grit, Footloose, and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. So we just do a quick vote, yes or no. We're not going to discuss movies. Like we still want to we want to keep it under an hour. So if we do a couple more rounds, that's fine, but do a vote. JPO, yes or no?
Yes.
Brian?
Sure.
Madi?
What are we voting on?
If we want to do a couple more rounds.
Do a couple more rounds quickly, like speed round quick.
All right. And then I'm good too. So, all right. So, JPO, you were on the clock.
Give me The Ring.
We'll give you The Ring then.
Thank you.
All right. Brian?
I will pick my favorite Steven Spielberg remake, and that is 1989's Always, a remake of Spencer Tracy's A Guy Named Joe.
Oh.
Thanks for clarifying, because no one knew that.
Mhm.
Madi.
Let's go Dread.
No, I didn't see it on your list. So I just want to make sure good, right?
It's borderline, but I put it in the tournament. Yeah, because I saw enough people say it is.
I'd say yeah.
People just be like,
Alright.
it's an adaptation, but but it's whatever. Yeah,
I think
I'd say
you'd be too nitpicky to say no.
Yeah.
yeah, it's too nitpicky to say no, so I'll say yes.
Give me 12 Monkeys.
Oh, that is a remake shit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Rajate.
Another like weird like French movie. Yeah,
Pez.
The Blob, 1988. That movie rules.
Haven't seen either version.
It's awesome. Way better than the original 50s one.
All right. Pez again.
I like it a lot. I'll go the Eddie Murphy Nutty Professor, 1996.
Respect it. All right. And then back over to me. Give me 13 Ghosts. I love this movie.
Good movie.
I love this movie. All right. Madi.
Robin Williams and Nathan Lane in the Birdcage.
Yeah.
I only seen it once. If I'd seen it more times, I probably would have picked it because I did enjoy that movie.
It's really funny.
Brian.
Man on Fire.
What was that a remake of? I'm not sure.
There was a version with Scott Glenn in the late 80s, I think.
Something
Oh,
like that. Yeah.
Same title or different title?
Yeah, it was all called Man on Fire, yeah.
I was just curious. I
I think it was Scott Glenn. Let me double check.
All right. JPO.
Let's go with the most recent one out of all of these. A Man Called Otto.
Do you know what the original was called?
A Man Called something.
Oh,
Just wasn't Otto.
Ova.
Oh.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I wrote Otter. What a jackass.
1987, Scott Glenn, yeah. Okay.
All right. JPO, sticking with you.
Let's go. I do actually. We mentioned it before. I would like the new Jungle Book.
Okay. Brian.
Oh, another one.
At this point, might as well do 10 because we're going to go through real quick.
Yeah.
Go around.
I got enough.
Fright Night.
That's good.
I haven't seen that one. I'm excited because I finally
the
watched.
wrong
I
list.
really like the
Fuck.
remake of that.
That remake, I would argue, better than the original. Also,
Yes.
I agree. I'm looking at the wrong list.
I mean, the original has that 80s kind of value to it.
it's
So I
got
like
a
that,
charm
but-
to it, but like, man, I like that new one. It's so much better.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell is the shit in that movie. He's
so
great.
good.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like,
like I said, I just watched the first one a couple
It's
months
in it.
ago and I really enjoyed that one. So, yeah.
the remake is good. It's a good remake. Yeah.
Madi, your actual penultimate.
I was actually going to say Fright Night. Shit. Oh, Freaky.
Yeah, that was a fun one when I saw that. I was like, yeah, that is. It's a reimagining remake, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Jump back over to me. Give me Disturbia.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, remake.
Rear Window.
It's a loose remake of Rear Window. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge Hitchcock fan. I would watch Disturbia before I rewatch Rear Window, and I love both. Pez.
It's serious. It's like that's like Fast and Furious Point Break. It's not an actual remake.
Yeah, I kind of want to challenge that too.
Yeah,
Like that's just because he's looking at his neighbor from across the street. Like that's
it's very much inspired by it, absolutely. But it's
Inspired,
not.
yeah,
It's not an
remake?
actual remake of it because it's not.
All right, we'll do a vote. It's
Well, with the rules we've said prior, I mean, like it's not the same characters. It's not the same. He's not injured. Like,
all right. That's so 2 no's. Madi.
I actually haven't seen the Shia LaBeouf one, so I don't know how much it has in common. I just know that he's in a house.
other than
and
he's
staying
looking at
up
his
with
neighbor
other
from
people.
across the street, and maybe he's
Yeah.
up to no good.
And Pez.
Like I don't know
It's-
much more than that.
It's definitely inspired by Rear Window, but it's not a remake of Rear Window.
Okay.
They actually
Okay.
remade Rear Window with Christopher Reeve in the TV movie. Where it was actually him in like the
Why did
90s.
we typecasted Christopher Reeve? Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, then give me Suspiria.
I'm gonna have to challenge this just because I want to.
Pez, what is
I
your
wonder what he's picking in his last pick.
I'll take Freaky Friday, 2003.
I like it.
Just watched it, and that movie was really delightful.
I just watched Real Rejects react to that, and I laughed my ass off. I'm like, now I have to in a couple
It's
months.
really good. I had
Yeah,
never seen it, and I just watched it this week. It's really fucking good. Really, really good.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. I know I liked it as like a kid, but like also,
Yeah, it's
Disney
really, really
type of
well
movie,
done.
but also I like a lot of
Yeah.
it. All right, Pez, what is your actual last pick?
Okay. Yeah, another comedy I really like. I'll take another Brendan Fraser movie, Bedazzled from 2000. Really funny movie. Yeah. Remake of a Dudley Moore movie.
Okay. Give me
The only Brendan Fraser remake you can take.
That's right.
You guys know I love it. The Longest Yard.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Not the only Adam Sandler remake you can take.
They're literally next to each other on the list. It's between the two. I only have one spot left, and Longest Yard's
You
higher.
picked the better. You picked the better one.
I love them both. Madi.
I don't.
Let's go. Another Spielberg remake, West Side Story.
Don't tell Henry I like it better than In the Heights.
Don't tell me that.
Don't tell Brian I like it better than In the Heights.
Jesus Christ. Is that 21 as well or 20?
21. 21.
I think that's
Brian.
Same year as In the Heights. That's why I mentioned it.
I forgot because no one gets it.
Oh, I'm down to the last two that I want to choose between.
See, 10 was perfect.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
What was the French one called again?
No, it wasn't a French one. It was Marlon Brando and David Niven. It was called Bedtime Story. And then it was remade again as The Hustle, I think it was called.
Yeah.
With Rebel Wilson and
Rebel
Anne
Wilson.
Hathaway.
Yeah, it's like a remake of Dirty Ones. Yeah.
I'm actually proud that I spelled Scoundrels right the first time. And JPO, final pick of the night.
All right, Sugar Tits, give me Ransom.
What's that a remake of? I'm just curious. I don't know.
Ransom from in another country, maybe.
Are you just making this up?
No, it's not on people's list, so I thought it was good.
I actually didn't know it was a remake. I'm not doubting it. I just didn't know.
All right. So then we had round 7, JPO with The Ring, Brian with Always, Madi with Dread, Henry with 12 Monkeys, Pez with The Blob 1988. Pez came back around with Nutty Professor, Henry 13 Ghosts, Madi The Birdcage, Brian Man on Fire, JPO A Man Called Otto, JPO Jungle Book, which he wished he didn't pick because he wanted Fright Night, Madi with Freaky, Henry with Suspiria, and then Pez with Freaky Friday, and then last but not least, Bedazzled, The Longest Yard, West Side Story, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and Ransom. With that said, JPO, how happy are you with your overall roster, and what are your thoughts just on how the night went?
No, I'm happy, man. Oh, can I see
All of them?
I thought you had a list. No, but okay, yeah, thank you. I'll speed read. Okay, good. Now that everyone had some really good picks here, a couple I didn't get to research, so some really good picks. Those last few rounds too, I was especially like, oh shit, that one. So no, it was a good time, and yeah.
Do you have any legit honorable mentions? Like,
yeah, honorable mentions real quick.
Like actually on your list.
Yeah, no, I'll just name a few. Magnificent Seven, I do enjoy that one with Denzel. If we count it again, this one might have been debatable. Evil Dead, I love the new bloody one. Born Identity, if you count that. Identity, and Bad Lieutenant Nicolas Cage is pretty freaking weird.
There you go. Brian, overall, what are your thoughts on how it went? We went 10 rounds, had a lot of fun. 10 rounds, less than an hour? I'll take it. What are your thoughts and any legit honorable mentions?
I got pretty much everything that I wanted. There were a couple that went that might have been like when we extended it to 10, I might have taken, Texas Chainsaw and Dawn of the Dead and some of that stuff. But I pretty much got everything I wanted. As far as honorable mentions, he already mentioned Magnificent Seven. I also thought about Evil Dead, Gone in 60 Seconds. I Am Legend, but that's more of a source material thing. And the other one I consider was Cruel Intentions, which I love, but that again is more of a source material thing, so I left those off my list.
I only like
Ransom's a Glenn Ford movie too. I didn't make it up.
Yeah, I just looked it up. I'm actually curious to watch that now.
There you go. Madi, first or second draft? I can't
This is
remember.
my first one.
First one. Okay. So what are your thoughts on just the concept of movie drafts? And did you have fun tonight? And any honorable mentions?
I mean, listen, I love
He's not
drafts.
gonna be shot down
Fantasy
in
football
picks.
draft day is like a great day for me. So you know what I mean.
Yep.
Honorable mentions. I have, I guess, both Magnificent Seven movies. I like the original too. Like even probably a little bit better than I like the more recent one. Oh god, I got just about everything else that was on my list that I had either picked by me or picked by someone else. So I'm not really mad at it. But yeah, I like my list, man. I think it's a solid 10.
There you go. And then, other than for me not getting departed round 1 and Invisible Man at some point in the early 4, I'm really happy with my list. I had 2 honorable mentions: Mr. Deeds, which I genuinely love. The Feet. Let me touch your feet. And then His Girl Friday, which I didn't realize was a remake of The Front Page. So I love that movie. It's a blast. Very quick-witted. Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant, their back and forth is amazing. I love that. So I have a good time with that. So those are the only other 2 on my list. Disturbia broke my heart that didn't get picked, but hey, I got to have the longest shard, so I'm okay with that. Pez.
Yeah, a couple of people mentioned Magnificent Seven, Evil Dead, both on my potentials. Piranha 3D is a remake of Piranha, so could have taken that. I love the Maniac remake with Elijah Wood. I'm big and high on that, but I knew nobody else was going to take it. And I'm maybe higher than a lot of people on the Hellraiser remake from last year. I love that movie.
No, I'm with you on that.
I think that movie's great, and I kind of like
one?
it more than the original now. Hellraiser.
Hellraiser from last year.
Really, really like it.
I just call it Hulu Razor.
Hulu Razor, yeah. I have a bootleg, a Blu-ray of it. I'll show you guys how we go off there because it's not available on physical media.
Yeah. All right. So with that said, make sure you guys check out everything over on the Pierce Code Network up top. ASAT's podcast. No, what's the other show you do on your channel?
I do countdowns. I do ASATs. I do drafts sometimes. I'll steal Twitter from here to there. Jeopardy. I'll steal. Yeah, just whatever you do, I steal it every once in a while.
And then whatever you do, I steal it. It's
yeah.
We just whatever that called. And then make sure you check out everything on the Movie Hero Network. They actually
we're doing a whole week of remakes. So tomorrow, me and Jacob Barber are doing a podcast about movies. We're going to be talking about Freaky Friday, the Psycho remake, Evil Dead, and Jungle Book will be the main ones talking about, and a little bit of Little Mermaid talk at the end. And then we're doing a good remake tournament on Tuesday, and then a bad remake tournament on Friday. So it's kind of a week of remakes.
Is it 64 each?
64 each. So, but like when we do our worst ones, we vote for what we think is worst rather than what we think is best. So like we try to get to the worst one at the very end.
That's pretty fun. That's a nice little twist.
Yeah, it's a nice little twist because that's why we have movies like in our 128 tournament, we're going to do all together when we have all of our unique movies, put in one. We have movies like Norbit and Disaster movies that won like worst movie tournaments. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have stuff like that will be included because of bad remake or bad.
Ryan Michaels' very first episode on movie fights is that one or movie tournament fights.
Well, the problem is I'd watch the ones with the bad remakes. I'd probably love half of them. So I'm like, hey,
well, then that's funny. That's what we're saying. Then you don't vote for them if you like it. You don't vote for it.
They're bad to you, but also like
right. I went general consensus with all these, so you can tune in and see, but it's kind of general consensus, yeah. So,
and as always, it's a pleasure to see Madi. Shout out to you. I'm glad it got you out of technically still in the house, but got you out of your own mind for a minute. You got to talk to other voices that aren't just in your head, and then make sure you check out everything that Ron Howard Opie's doing. When he's coming out of retirement. Solo 2, a Star Wars story coming out soon. My name is Henry Confidential. This is the live Confidential Action channel. And make sure to check out Henry Confidential, the edited channel I have. So, latest Gatus.